And let's do that. Let's add a simple piece of clip art. So I'm going to go back to my tab here, which is already open previously from my background images. Remember, this is in my templates folder. I'm just going to navigate up over to our clip arts folder. There we go. Here's our clip arts folder. And let's go ahead and let's add some objects here. How about a simple food object? Oh, here's some bread. Here's some beer. Maybe an apple. All right. So let's go ahead and let's import, let's say, a little bread image here. Doesn't really flow with our theme, but again, this is just kind of giving you an example of what we can do with the software. So here we got a bread image, and it's now playing on screen indefinitely. And how do we know that? Well, if you look at every layer, we've got the name of the asset, which is technically the path to where this asset really is. We have what the asset is. In this case, it's an image. And we have right below it the actual time value for this asset. You know, how long is it going to remain on screen? It is currently right now blanked out because it's simply an image. It's designed to be up there indefinitely. Let's say, for example, we wanted this bread image to maybe appear 5 seconds from when the project started and maybe end after 10 seconds. We have full control over the time function of every element that appears on screen. So if I dive into the properties for this layer, all right, you'll see this URI box at the top. This is, again, not really the name of the asset, but technically the path to where this asset is. And we have time functions. All of your layers will have the ability to control the begin, duration, and opacity. So if I click over here and say, okay, I want this to appear for 5 seconds on screen, and I want it, begin after 5 seconds, and have a duration of, let's say, 10 seconds, I can just set those times. Now, this is standard time code, which you're probably used to seeing, hours, minutes, seconds. SVG relies heavily on using seconds. So for example, most things in SVG will be specified in seconds. So I can simply put in 10 or 10s to specify my duration to be 10 seconds without having to physically put in time code here. So I'll click OK, and look at this. We've got this delay marker, which tells us the object isn't going to appear on screen until 5 seconds after it starts, or our project starts. And you'll notice the time column here actually hasn't been filled out with any information. And the reason for that is because of this icon here. This is the repeat option, okay? Basically what we're saying is, okay, we want this object to repeat indefinitely. If that's the case, there really isn't a time value for this because it's going to repeat and loop forever. So we need to change that. If I dive back into the properties of my layer here, and I click on the More tree here, we've got a number of different options, including the ability to preserve its aspect ratio, lock it down. This is actually the same as the lock icon for this layer. And the repeat option, which specifies repeat for a maximum duration of indefinite. Well, let's turn that off. Let's click OK, and we'll now notice that it has the time value which we specified, 10 seconds. But where did it go? Well, if you notice, our project has been running right now for a grand total of 3 minutes and about 45 seconds. We told it to appear 5 seconds after our project started and only remain on screen for 10 seconds. We're definitely way past that marker point. So how do we test this? Well, if I save my project, the project will restart from the beginning, or I can use the time control functions at the top here to manually go back to the beginning by clicking on this restart button here. So sure enough, at 5 seconds, it'll appear on screen, and in 10 seconds, which will be about the 15-second mark, it should disappear from screen. So let's take a look. There it goes. So time control functions, playlist functionality, these are all available on the box itself. We're using simple media assets here. We can definitely populate this with video. You'll notice it restarted again because when I saved it, it started back from the beginning. So now that we've got a simple basic project, let's talk really quick about uploading this to an actual box, an actual digital signage creator product. So what we need to have open are 2 tabs. One, we'll need access to the actual project folder. Notice I said the project folder and not the actual project tab, which we have open here. All right, why? Because we need to have access to that entity, the entire project. And it can easily be seen here. Looks like a piece of paper inside of a manila folder. That's our actual project. And by default, it's always going to be in the My Projects tab or My Projects folder. So once we have access to that, we also need access to a box. All right, so I'm going to click on a brand new tab, okay, which takes me back to the default workspace, and open up the My Devices folder. Now you'll notice here I've got a whole bunch of boxes that are residing currently on my network. I've got a few Geffen training boxes here. Let's go ahead and upload it to one of these boxes. So how do we do this? Well, this software mainly works on the premise of drag and drop. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead, go back to the My Projects tab here, grab my entire first project. I'm going to drag it, and while I'm holding it over the My Devices tab, you'll notice that it opens up. And then all I have to simply do is drop it onto a box. Once I do that, the box itself will begin uploading, and that's it. We're done. We've uploaded the project now to this box. And if you could see it inside of the training room right now, you'd see this exact project running on screen. We can, of course, upload to groups of boxes all at the same time. So, for example, if I were to create a folder, and in this software, new collections really are the same as new folders, I can click on that. Let's go ahead and give myself a folder name of, let's say, Group 1. So this will be my new collection. I can take a number of boxes, all right, select them and drop them into my group. So, like we did the drag and drop operation with the project, I was able to take that project, bring it over to My Devices tab, and drop it onto a box. In this case, if I drop it onto the group of boxes, what's going to happen is it's going to upload it to everything in that group. So we can upload to multiple boxes at the same time. Right? It's all going to be the same project in this case. If you notice, the Geffen Training 3 was already done before the other boxes. Why? Well, basically what happened was the Geffen Training 3 was the first box that I had uploaded to. Right? And what happened was when the upload operation was in, well, while it was processing, what happened was Geffen Training 3 knew that it already had all the content that we were trying to upload, so it didn't have to download or get any new content. So it was done basically the moment we initiated this whole upload process. The other two boxes had different content, so they had to, of course, upload that content inside of their box. And that's it. Now we're all done. The DSC is very smart. So what happens really, or technically, is the software creates a resource list of what it's trying to upload, and it compares it to a resource list of currently what's on the box or what's on the boxes. So what happens is if there is a slight change, it's only going to upload the assets that have changed. We're not doing full recomplete uploads. If we had a 1.5 gigabyte project and we decided to re-upload the entire project because we only changed, let's say, a text box, that would be a waste of bandwidth and definitely a waste of time. So we definitely use a lot of smart technologies for this. So now that we've uploaded our project, what we have initiated or we've done now is we've gained the ability to use something called the Quick Publish. Once you do the first upload using this drag and drop operation from the My Projects to the My Devices, all right, the project that you are working in or the project you uploaded will now remember what box or boxes it had just uploaded to. So in this case, my Quick Publish to Group 1 here is now complete. So if I change something, if I come in here and let's go ahead and delete our bread image there, and I save this, I can now press the Quick Publish button and it'll go ahead and republish that project with the changes to the boxes I'd uploaded to just a few moments ago. Alright, so essentially what's going on is the drag and drop operation really only has to be done once for an upload. If you're dealing with the same project that are going on the same boxes, you can simply manipulate your project and use the Quick Publish to re-upload that project to those boxes. Alright, so there it is. Simple project creation. We've got our name banner here. We had a clip art in here that we changed some controls and timings on. We've got a simple playlist. There are definitely other functionalities at the box we can use, of course connecting to live dynamic assets like offsite video feeds or bringing in live news feeds or live weather. And we'll definitely dive into those in some other tutorial videos. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you later.